Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video, we will continue with the Salesforce Developer Interview Question and Answer series. Today, we will discuss part 14 video where I will be discussing Schedule Apex continuation. Okay. In the last video, we have started Schedule Apex. In this video, we'll continue the same topic, Schedule Apex. Okay. If you have not watched the previous videos of this series, then I strongly recommend you to watch those first. So let's get started. This again comes under asynchronous Apex, and then we are continuing the Schedule Apex. So the first question is, can you write some example of how to use the expression or Cron expression? Okay. So we have discussed a lot about the Cron expression in the past, so which will help you to answer this. So this is the question that might be asked. Okay. Like earlier questions, to tell all the characters and values might not come in an interview, but that will help to answer this question. Okay. So can you write some examples of how to use the Cron expression? So expression 0013 ** question marks. Okay. So which means that class runs every day at 1 p.m. Okay. And then 0022 question mark *6L, the class run on the last Friday of every month at 10 p.m. I think you are trying to understand this, right? Because in the last video we have learned about why we use star, why we use L, okay, why we use question mark, what is this, seconds, minutes, hours, and all those things. Okay. And next expression is 0010 is 10 a.m. okay, in the morning. This 22 is 10 p.m. okay. So this seconds, minutes, hours, and question mark star, okay, and then Monday to Friday. So class runs Monday through to Friday at 10 a.m. right? And 0020 is 8 p.m. and then * question marks 2010. So class run every day at 8 p.m. during the year 2010. So this is how we write Cron expression. These are the few examples. Okay, you can by heart few of the examples and you can throw it in the interview if interviewer ever asks. Okay, so maybe remember or write down some examples. Maybe take this example and then write it down in front of the interviewer, or tell to the interviewer and explain what each value means in the interview. That would be more than enough. Okay. Which all type of classes or asynchronous processes we can schedule? Okay. So what all we can schedule? Okay. We can schedule, but what all we can schedule? What we can schedule and what we can't schedule. Okay. So let's see this. We can schedule all of them, like batch apex. We can call a batch apex from the schedule apex. Okay. Feature method, we can call a feature method from the schedule apex as well. And then queuable apex, this is not we have learned so far, so we will be learning in the next video. Queuable apex, so we can call the queuable apex from the schedule apex as well. Okay, but there are some pros and cons, so let's see that. So among batch apex, feature methods, and queuable apex, which one can cause issues if we schedule them? Okay, look, system doesn't stop you to schedule them, but if you schedule them, what will be the problems? Okay, so if we call feature methods from the schedule apex, then it can cause some issues, like because the feature method does not guarantee its execution on time. Like, feature method runs on a different thread. Okay, or I would say a different transaction. If you use Salesforce terminology, it's a different transaction, right? So the tracking is not possible, as we lose transaction control as schedule apex gets over as soon as it fires the feature method. So what happens is schedule class starts and then it finds a feature method, it fires the feature method goes and runs into a completely different transaction, and then schedule method ends and then closes the transaction. Okay, so there will be two transactions here. One transaction or one thread will be for actual schedule class, and another thread which is created for feature method. So feature method, we don't have control over it, so we cannot monitor. That is the reason it might cause some problems. Okay, So there is a limit to the number of feature calls as well, based on the number of licenses of our org. So don't run feature methods from the scheduled class. Okay. Can you update the class or any classes referenced in a scheduled job? Okay, this could also be a question which might be asked, because what happens, right? Normally, you cannot go and update the class if it is scheduled. You try, look, eventually we will not do the direct class changes in production because that will never be a case, because Apex classes we have to deploy, we cannot edit that. But let's suppose you have a class within the sandbox and a job is scheduled, try to go and update it. It will not allow you to update. Okay. So there are one or more, the answer is if there are one or more active scheduled jobs for an Apex class, we cannot update the class or any classes referenced by the Apex class through the Salesforce user interface. Okay. Like updating the Apex class within the Salesforce UI. So this holds good for sandboxes. Okay, this might not happen in production, but interviewer can still ask you, to understand from you whether you have really worked on scheduled classes. Have you faced this type of issues when you are working? Okay, so be prepared for this answer. So however, you can update the class in the sandbox. Okay, so go and update the class in the sandbox where the scheduled class is not scheduled. Okay, and then deploy the class in the production where active scheduled jobs by using metadata API. Metadata API is any deployment tool. Okay, so don't get confused about this metadata API, because behind the scene, any deployment tool you use this. Okay, so you can deploy the updated version of the scheduled class to the production. Okay, or to whatever sandbox where you are not able to schedule. So normally what happens, right? I'll give you a scenario also. What happens normally, we try to schedule the jobs in the lower environments as well, like in UAT. Okay, we want to see how UAT is normally full sandbox. Okay, so we want to see how it is behaving because UAT is a full sandbox. It does have the production data. So normally just job classes which runs a number of records, are scheduled in the UAT sandboxes. So once it is scheduled, and then we found that the class is not working as expected, and we want to modify the class, then we will not be able to update that class in the UAT because we have already scheduled that class in the UAT. Okay. So to update the class, we modify the class in the previous environments, maybe in a dev environment, and then promote or deploy that updated version of the scheduled class to maybe QA and then into UAT. So that way the scheduled class which is in UAT gets updated. Okay. What is the maximum number of jobs that can be scheduled at a given time? Okay, this is easy. So we can only have 100 scheduled jobs at a time. Okay. How to count the number of scheduled jobs? So you can run a query, select count from cron trigger, where cron job details dot job ID is equals to 7. Actually 7 represents the scheduled job. So here cron job details dot job type is equals to 7 represents the scheduled job. Okay. Okay. So the next question is, does scheduled Apex support callouts? Okay, callouts. What do you mean by callouts? Okay, callout is like, integration callouts. Can we call out to another system from the scheduled Apex? Okay, no, scheduled Apex does not support synchronous web service callouts. We cannot call out from the scheduled Apex. Okay, so if the callout is not supported in the scheduled Apex, then what is the alternate way to call out from the scheduled Apex? Look, this is not a good practice. You should not do it, by the way. But like interviewers will ask you these questions just to understand what is your understanding in terms of scheduled job, right? Do you have a deep understanding of scheduled job or not? Okay, even though This might not be a practice in a day-to-day job, but interviewer will still try to understand from you or try to confuse you by asking this sort of questions. Okay, so there are two ways to call out from a scheduled job if ever we want to do. Okay, we should make an asynchronous call. So we cannot do synchronous call. Okay, then the option is we can do asynchronous callouts. How do we do? So using feature methods, like use feature methods with callouts like at the rate feature, and then call this methods from the schedule apex. So right, we can call feature methods. Even that is not a good practice. But if you ever want to do, then you can do like this one. We can we can create a feature method in a class, and then from the schedule job we can call that, and in that feature method we can call out, because feature supports call out. Okay, create a batch apex. Again, we are not directly calling it from the schedule. We are creating a batch apex here with callouts. Okay, callouts are supported in the batch apex as well. And create a schedule apex which executes the batch. So batch is calling schedule is calling the batch, and batch is calling that call out. Okay, here also schedule is calling the feature method, and feature method in turn is calling the call out. Okay, so this is how we can call out, but yeah, normally we don't do this, but good to know. Can you tell me about some best practices for schedule apex? Okay, yes, we can. So if you're planning to schedule a class from a trigger, we must be able to guarantee that the trigger won't add more schedule classes than the limit. Okay, this could sometime be a requirement. I mean, there are alternate ways as well, but sometimes it is required. So we should make sure that that we are not triggering a lot of time that scheduled job. Okay, though it is possible to do additional processing in the execute method, we recommend that all processing takes place in the separate class. You remember we have discussed in the previous video that there is a mandatory method called execute in the schedule apex. So what is this? Point number B is do not write the whole logic in that method. Okay, so write a logic in a different class with the multiple methods, and then call that methods from the execute class instead of writing the whole method if it is a very big logic we are writing in the execute methods. Okay, so just to unclutter the execute method. Okay, that's the best practice. So synchronous web service callouts are not supported from the schedule apex. To make asynchronous callouts, use @ feature or batch. Okay, so if ever you have this requirement, go for @ feature or batch apex. All right. So this ends our schedule apex video as well, and for this I have referenced help.salesforce.com and trailhead.salesforce.com to get the latest information regarding all this schedule apex. Thank you. Thanks for watching. I hope this video helped you prepare for your Salesforce developer interview and crack your next job. If you have any questions which you want me to include in your videos, please post it in the comments below. And if you like this video, make sure to hit like and subscribe to my YouTube channel right now. That way you don't miss the Salesforce interview question and answers videos like this one.